Muppet Show with our very special guest star, Mr. Steve Martin.
I've always had a fascination for the Muppets. As a celebration of individuality and chaos, I was naturally mesmerized by the characters as a child, and this love is carried on until today. This love of the Hensons led me to view Brian Henson's film, The Happy Time Murders, which was appalling. The medium that had brought me so much joy throughout my life was treated like another dime a dozen raunchy comedy with no respect for the art form. The Happy Time Murders was born of hatred for the Disney company's treatment of the Muppets, and unfortunately, that hatred seeped its way into the film. This was a hindrance to the overall quality of the film, and for some, made the Henson Company's legacy lose its luster. I believe that the only way for the Henson Company to return to form, and more specifically Brian Henson, is to look back to its roots and recapture the love of Henson's first film, The Muppet Christmas Carol, based upon the classic Charles Dickens tale. We'll look at 5 Muppets in total, those being Kermit, Statler and Waldorf, and Gonzo and Rizzo. By examining the love Brian Henson put into the Muppet Christmas Carol by respecting these characters his father has made, the Henson Company can make films that are worthy of the legacy of Jim. So, without further ado,
This is what we call a Muppet Show!
first, we'll take a look at Kermit the Frog. Kermit oftentimes acts as a straight man in comparison to the ludicrous and wild comedy of the other Muppets.
Because you see, folks, the foob is known as the most delicious creature on Coosbane.
Kermit is also one of the only Muppets who is allowed to have emotional moments.
It's not easy being green.
In The Muppet Christmas Carol, Kermit takes the role of Bob Cratchit, the father of Tiny Tim and Scrooge's underpaid clerk. Kermit shows tons of emotion throughout the film, ranging from hopeful happiness to the depths of despair.
Please go set the table. Thank you. How was the churchyard?
It'll be lovely, Emily.
Even then, Kermit stays his positive, froggy self. Henson allowed Kermit to retain his Kermit side while still playing Bob Cratchit, and as such, respected his father's favorite character. Next, we'll look to Statler and Waldorf. Statler and Waldorf are 2 elderly Muppets who constantly heckle the other Muppets throughout their performances.
The savage beast. Such is not the case here, however.
Statler and Waldorf split the role of Jacob Marley as Scrooge's late business partner. Even in their afterlives, the two continued to heckle Scrooge while still being certain to warn Scrooge of the impending haunts. While the 2 crotchety old Muppets certainly performed the task that Jacob Marley was forced into, they still retain their heckling charm. Finally, we'll take a look at the Muppets that got the most screen time, the Great Gonzo and Rizzo the Rat. Gonzo is a daredevil performer that is all too lovably mischievous.
My amazing powers of hypnosis.
This mischievousness is only matched by Rizzo, a rat first introduced in a supporting role in Muppets Take Manhattan. Despite being a relatively new Muppet at the time, Rizzo was developed as a childish, mocking character who has a sensitive side.
Yeah. Get real close. You see, we're doing research on deodorant strength.
In the film, Gonzo takes on the role of narrator, playing Charles Dickens himself, specifically cast by Henson in the role due to the fact that he is literally the last Muppet anyone would expect to be Dickens.
To say that Scrooge was not startled would be untrue. Still, the moment had passed, and the world was as it should be.
Despite the fact that most of his lines in the film are directly ripped from A Christmas Carol, Gonzo as Dickens holds on to his character traits. Rizzo, on the other hand, acts as Gonzo's Greek chorus, shining up for certain lines and providing comedic relief when the story gets a little too dark.
Too late now. Come on, I'll catch you.
God save my little broken body.
Rizzo retains his childlike demeanor while still effectively narrating the film. Every Muppet in the film retains their character and spirit while respecting the characters of A Christmas Carol. from the big names like Kermit and Miss Piggy to even the lesser-known Muppets like Sam the Eagle and Dr. Teeth. Brian Henson could have just as easily had the Muppets play the characters exactly as Charles Dickens intended. But rather than that, he had the Muppets retain their original character traits. Henson obviously loved his father's creations and wanted to honor the years of work that Jim put into them. This love is evident throughout the film, making it the classic that it is today. This love for his father's work isn't gone, as Brian Henson still uses the medium that his father repopularized. He may not own the rights to his father's characters, but by recapturing the love for his father's work, rather than the hatred for how his father's work has been treated, Brian Henson can create high-quality films once more.